Hey Twisters and welcome hockey fans. I'm Nick and today let's rank all 32 reverse retro jerseys. I'm so excited this series is returning. I loved many of the jerseys from series 1.0 and I actually asked you guys to rank these jerseys as well. We had a Google form. Thank you to everybody who filled it out. So we'll see how my rankings compare to the community's. Now, I got to be honest here. I have a lot of bold takes, a lot of hot takes here, some very controversial opinions, but that's the beauty of this because these are my unique opinions and I welcome yours down in the comments down below. What are your top 5 jerseys? What are your bottom 5? Or feel free to rank all 32 of them if you are that ambitious. So, you guys ready for this? Skadoosh that like, and we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. So in 32nd, I have the Chicago Blackhawks, and you guys with an average score of 3.37 out of 10 have ranked them 31st, so second to last. To me, it's really the bottom of the jersey, everything that happens below the numbers that is incredibly awkward here. The sleeve stripes don't even match with the bottom of the jersey, so it just really stands out as kind of an incomplete project here. At least they put the Chicago Blackhawks logo on the top, but other than that, I really just can't stand this one whatsoever. There is another one that's very similar to this, but I actually have some praises for that one. In 31st, I have the Ottawa Senators, and with a score of 4.58 out of 10, you rank them 28th, so still a pretty low score. For me, there are a couple things that really stand out with this. Just the weird kind of tubing on the sleeves, the awkward font, the swoosh in the middle. I know that this is paying homage to a jersey from like 20 plus years ago, but the execution, the translation to an Adidas jersey, it really doesn't line up. And then to cap that all off, the logo in the center is not the logo they actually wore during that phase. It's been relegated to the shoulders, and so it kind of loses some of that awkward character and charm from that era. So I really don't like this whatsoever. The black home jersey is almost too similar with the exception of the font that they use. So yeah, this one to me is definitely a dud. In 30th, I have the Buffalo Sabres, and yeah, I already kind of regret this a little bit. I'll explain in just a moment. With an average score of 6.86, you guys actually ranked this 11th, but here I have this third to last. One reason is because they're already going to bring back the goat head in black with the red and white and silver accents. So why did they need to do this in a reverse retro jersey? The goat head is not a blue and yellow, does not fit in with that color scheme. And the jersey itself looks a little bit blank overall until you get to the sleeves and the sides of the jersey on the torso. The logo looks really good, I have to say. I like how they kept the red eye for the bison. But that being said, this is just kind of another white jersey for Buffalo. They've had like 6 or 7 of them in the Adidas era. So this one for me will be quite forgettable. In 29th, this is probably my hottest take. I have the New York Islanders, and with an average score of 6.84, you guys ranked this 12th. To me, this is just a piss-poor attempt at bringing back one of the greatest jerseys from the 1990s, a jersey with so much character, with the waves, with the teal, with the lighthouse shoulder, and all of that, pretty much all of that seems to be missing from this jersey. They even eliminated some of that color in the logo itself. These are just really bland stripes that offer really nothing to this jersey. There's nothing on the bottom. It looks like it's not completed, right? So I can't stand this jersey, honestly. The Fisherman logo is fantastic, but he was done bad. He was done wrong with this reimagining of the jersey, if you even want to call it that. In 28th, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and with an average score of 5.21, you have ranked this 26th. So pretty similar there. I actually like this jersey quite a bit, except for the fact that the body of the jersey is black. If it were navy blue to match the actual logo, I think this jersey would actually be pretty darn cool. I love the sleeves, the light blue. I am a sucker for jerseys like that. The numbers look good with that red outlining. I like the stars at the end of the sleeves. But again, it's just a color clash to me. So this one is almost actually one that I would like quite a bit. In 27th, maybe another hot take here, I've got the Nashville Predators, and with an average score of 6.23, you have ranked this 20th. Now, I'm a big fan of the Reverse Retro 1.0. This one right here. This was beautifully composed, but this is an example of a jersey from like the 1990s that does not translate well into the Adidas template. There's way too much blank space here. Part of the reason why people loved this jersey originally is because of that horrible mustard yellow. That's nowhere to be found. It's just another yellow Nashville jersey. There's not anything happening past the logo until you get to the very bottom. Just really bland kind of designs to the striping at the bottom of the jersey. The shoulder logo and I'm sure the main logo are going to look great. That Nashville text, though, completely unnecessary. The numbers look really cool as well, but again, there's just not enough happening on this jersey. In 26th, I had the St. Louis Blues, and with an average score of 6.61 out of 10, you ranked this 15th. Now, I like the idea of the Blues going all the way back to before they were even taking the ice in the first place in 1966, excuse me. But this to me is not a really good modern day jersey in that the stripes are way too far apart. The logo looks really wonky and distorted. I love the blue at the end of the sleeves, and on the shoulders it looks great as well. But just from a pure design standpoint with those gaps in the striping, it just looks, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Minnesota Wild Winter Classic jersey from earlier this year. Really, if the Blues had unveiled this as their offering for that game, that would actually been a pretty great matchup. But here, I think the Blues have other jerseys they could have drawn on from their history. In 25th, I had the Seattle Kraken, and with an average score of 6.05 out of 10, you have ranked this 24th, so nearly identical. This jersey's okay to me. It's just that, why are they drawing on the Seattle Ironmen? I don't think that many fans of Seattle sports would even remember the Ironmen when you had the likes of the Metropolitans, that iconic look, the Seattle Totems as well, which later inspired the Seattle Thunderbirds. You could have drawn on maybe the Seattle Seahawks. We saw something kind of like this with the Montreal Canadiens and the Expos. We'll talk about that later. So this jersey to me is just kind of uninspiring. I love the ice blue. I think that there could have been a little bit of white to kind of offset things. But overall, yeah, this looks like, I don't know, a pajama shirt or something like that. It doesn't really scream hockey jersey to me. And it was an opportunity for the Kraken to maybe use that anchor logo in the middle as well. I think Bar Down or somebody had mentioned that, and I certainly tend to agree there too. In 24th, I've got the Detroit Red Wings in a bit of a surprise here. You guys ranked it dead last at 3.23 out of 10 on average. This to me is much better composed than the Chicago jersey. There's much more of a kind of symmetry or consistency in the design. You've got the two stripes beneath the arms, and you have that beneath the chest stripe as well where it says Detroit. This one's more bold and assertive than the Chicago one. And I love seeing that the Red Wings are actually doing something different than what they've worn before, especially taking into consideration their past reverse retro. This to me is a little bit more complete than the Chicago design, although I'm sure that you could certainly debate that with me in the comments. In 23rd, I had the Philadelphia Flyers, and with an average score of 4.19, you guys have ranked this 29th. I totally understand. It's a bland, boring-looking jersey, but it is elegant. It's a little understated, right? Maybe not enough orange going on. To me, it really shows the Flyers need just totally new jerseys. When the reverse retro looks identical to what they wear for home and away, yeah, I think that this is a telling sign that Philly does need somewhat of a rebrand. Keep the logo, though. It is a fantastic logo. But that being said, it's still pretty well composed. It's balanced enough. Maybe there could be a little bit more orange in this jersey, I guess. But it's still got a great logo. It doesn't do anything wrong. And I don't know, maybe this could grow on some fans as well. In 22nd, I have my team, the San Jose Sharks, and with an average score of 6.27, this is tied for 21st, so basically identical rankings between yourselves and me. This jersey is too blank. I've never liked this jersey. The armpit stripes are so incredibly awkward. They belong below the numbers like a normal hockey jersey. And I think this was a huge missed opportunity for the Sharks to instead actually recolor the San Jose Sharks logo in that aqua and yellow. I would have loved to see that, kind of like how the Wild did with the Minnesota North Stars inspired jerseys. The word mark does look okay, and I love the colors overall, so that is kind of what saves it. I will eventually pick this up. I also like the collar as well. The coloring on that looks particularly great. In 21st, I had the Vegas Golden Knights, and you guys actually had them tied with the Sharks for 21st, so we're basically identical there. This jersey's okay to me. I really like how the gold is used much more sparingly here than it is for their home jersey, and it's nice to see Vegas using a black base for this instead of gray. The word mark itself has lots of character. I think it looks very sharp, although even though I know they're paying homage to like an old hotel or casino, I hate the number design. That font looks horrible to me. It looks like some sort of word art program from the early 1990s. Everything else about the jersey, though, is sharp. The, of course, shoulder logo being the main logo, that looks particularly crisp. And the collar in that gold, it's got some shine to it. It's not bad. It's not really trying to do too much. It glows in the dark, though, but that, I have to say, is pretty fantastic. In 20th, I have the Colorado Avalanche, and you guys with an average score of 5.86 have them ranked a little bit lower than me in 25th. I think this jersey is overall very well composed. I love everything except for kind of the main body of the jersey. It looks a little blank to me. I know they're paying respect to the Colorado state flag, but on a white base, I don't think that looks particularly good. I would consider a recoloring or like an inverse of what we see here. But for a white jersey overall, it's not bad. I'm not going to pick it up myself, but I love the color play on the sleeves. I love the numbers. That turned out really well too. And you got the Avalanche logo on the shoulders. It's overall not bad, but again, it's not really standing out among some of the others out there. In 19th, I have the Minnesota Wild, and with an average score of 6.91, you guys ranked this 9th. I am surprised to see it that high. To me, this is not quite as sharp as what we have behind me here, the white version of this 2 years ago. And yeah, it was a lazy decision by the Wild to just basically inverse their previous offering. And to me, I think what really stands out is that the collar should be white. It should actually match the shoulders of the jersey, so it does get a ding there. The numbers don't look as crisp, I don't think, with these colors as they did on the white jersey with the green and yellow. And yeah, I did knock this down a little bit further than maybe some of you would just because of this decision. Overall, it's still kind of a sharp jersey, but again, kind of a missed opportunity for the Wild to maybe even draw on a previous Minnesota hockey team. In 18th, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you guys ranked this 27th with an average score of 4.91. I can totally understand. It's just another blue Toronto Maple Leafs jersey for the most part, but I do have to pay attention to two details here. The sweater-like collar, I am a sucker for that, and the felt logo as well. That's going to look great up close and personal. And the design of it, yeah, it's very generic, but it's classic. It looks like something that belongs over a sweatshirt like the model is wearing here. It's not a bad jersey by any means, and I love blue jerseys for the most part. So this to me is probably better and higher ranked than you would have it. In 17th, I've got the Winnipeg Jets, and I'm really surprised, guys. You have this ranked tied for 3rd. That's really high with an average score of 7.3. It's a great looking jersey. To me, though, it's too much of a retread for the Winnipeg Jets, who've been using a lot of the two-tone blue recently. The home and away jerseys, the aviator blue alternate, the reverse retro last time had a gray base, but it was also accented by navy blue and aviator blue. I think it would have been a good decision to actually use more red here. If it were a red base, that would have been excellent as well. But the jersey is very well composed. The use of color is appropriate as well. You've got that recolored Goals for Kids patch on the shoulder, which looks particularly good. It's a clean jersey. I don't use that very often, but the space is used efficiently. There's enough contrast here. It's a good, sharp-looking jersey, but again, I think it was a missed opportunity for Winnipeg. In 16th, I've got the Canadiens, and with an average score of 6.88, you have this ranked 10th. I was surprised to see it kind of that high. I didn't think that people really liked this jersey that much, kind of a lukewarm offering. I like the powder blue. I am a sucker for jerseys of that color, but to me, I think that this is lacking some red. It could have used some red on the numbers. That's where I think it should have been red, or at least the outline of the numbers. That would have been a bit better. It would have felt more like a Montreal Canadiens jersey versus what we have here. Whereas I really liked the Reverse Retro 1.0. That one stands out to me much more than this one does. But that being said, it's still a very presentable hockey jersey, and it fits okay into the family of Montreal Canadiens jerseys, in my opinion. In 15th, I've got the Anaheim Ducks, and with an average score of 6.82, you guys have ranked this 13th. It's a really sharp-looking jersey. It's a white jersey, but there's enough going on at the bottom with the striping and the coloring. You've got a black and orange collar, which looks all right too. The logo looks great. The numbers have enough character with that orange outline as well. But to me, this looks already like a jersey that's part of the lineup of jerseys for Anaheim. So it's not like reinventing the wheel, and it's also missing that great shoulder patch that was part of the Anaheim, or the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, back in the late 1990s. So it's not really jumping out at me all that much, but I'm sure the uniform and on the ice, I'm sure it's going to look great. In 14th, this is definitely a surprise. I have the Carolina Hurricanes, and with an average score of 4.16, you had this ranked 3rd from the bottom in 30th. Now, granted, I understand this looks exactly like the away jersey, right? Except for maybe the storm flag pattern resembling more of what they wore in their first line of jerseys in Raleigh. But that being said, man, this jersey is so assertive. I love it. It's got so much punch to it. I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but that Canes template on red, it just really pops. It really pops for me. I love the storm flag pattern, even though I wish it were on the arms for home and away. But the balance of this jersey, the contrast of these colors, it's sharp, man. I like what they did with the collar as well. You just have that little black strip at the top. Otherwise, it blends into the rest of the jersey. You got the storm flags on the shoulders as well. This is one that I hope is on sale because not too many people want it, because I would purchase this for a discount. I certainly would. In 13th, I had the Vancouver Canucks, and with an average score of 7.0, you guys had this ranked 7th. I think this is a pretty sharp jersey, maybe a little bit thick at the bottom, but again, this is paying homage to a team that was playing, 60 years ago in British Columbia. It's well composed for the most part. You got lots of color, plenty of contrast. Love the green collar. It's got kind of a sweater-like appearance there. I love the laces as well. And Johnny Canuck. I'm a huge fan of Johnny Canuck. More so the reimagining of it that is currently used for the Abbotsford Canucks in the AHL. But even so, Johnny Canuck, this guy's an absolute gamer. Just look at the guy. The appearance of this overall is very sharp. Good contrast. Better than the 1.0 reverse retro, I would have to say. The only thing that I don't like are the numbers at the very top of the torso there. In 12th, I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. What a crazy jersey this is. And with an average score of 6.53, you have this ranked 13th. Now, this jersey is a hot mess, but it's supposed to be a hot mess. This is a pretty good reimagining of the jersey from the mid-1990s. You've got lots of the same elements present there. I love the wonky, storm-torn font. That looks fantastic. That's why I got to pick up this jersey and actually get it customized. You've got the yellow lightning down the sleeves, which turned out great. You got the waves at the bottom and the rain too. Yeah, this is a really good reimagining, although I don't really like the shoulders being gray. I wish that would have stayed white. I don't know, that might have looked better. But that being said, I can look past that because they actually went all out versus a team like the Islanders. In 11th, I have the Arizona Coyotes, and with an average score of 7.12, you guys had this ranked 6th. Now, I do kind of ding this a little bit in that this is another Coyote jersey, and one that doesn't really fit into the Coyotes family in terms of color scheme. But this is a beautiful jersey, I have to say. The color composition on this, in my opinion, is much better than the purple reverse retro. I love the purple detailing in the Coyote head as well. The overall composition, the striping, the bottom of the sleeves, the shading as well for the mountains, I love it. It all looks great. Even the collar is an appropriate decision as well. If the Coyotes rolled with something like this as part of their branding going forward, I would love it. But for now, this to me looks kind of like an alternate jersey or like a commemorative or practice jersey. Doesn't really fit into the Coyotes family quite as well. But that being said, I think it's beautiful, and this is one that I would consider purchasing. All right, guys, now we're into the top 10. And kicking things off, I've got the Boston Bruins, and with an average score of 6.98 out of 10, you have this ranked 8th, so fairly similar. I had huge doubts when the Bruins were rumored to bring back the Pooh Bear, but this is actually translated fairly well on an Adidas jersey. I would have loved to see what it would have looked like as a black jersey with maybe a recolored bear or maybe an outline around that and plenty of yellow accents. But for a white jersey, this is done pretty well. The shoulders turned out much better than I expected. They still have so much character there. You've got that jagged sort of appearance at the bottom of the sleeves and on the waist as well. It is a little bit blank. I would have liked to see maybe a recoloring of the Bruin or an attempt at that, but I can overlook that, especially because the Bruins were originally wearing brown and yellow, so that's why you got the brown Bruin. Overall, this is sharp. I don't know if I'll add this to my collection, but I think that a lot of fans out there, especially from that era, should be particularly pleased. In 9th, I've got the Dallas Stars, and with an average score of 6.51, you had this further down than I did at 17th. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, but then I looked up close at the beautiful detailing on the logo within the star itself with the prime green template. Things are going to look fantastic up close, and you've got that silver shine as well in the logo, and of course, going down from the shoulders, down the sleeves, and on the waist as well. Yeah, this design was never my favorite, but the reimagining of this turned out better than I would have expected. You got those Texas state shoulder patches as well. The only thing I'll really ding this jersey for is the white collar. If that would have been green just to blend in with the rest of the upper arms, I would have loved it. But yeah, this is still a very sharp jersey and probably maybe the most underrated, I would say, in the Reverse Retro 2.0 series. In 8th, I've got the Washington Capitals, and with an average score of 7.60, you guys had this ranked 2nd among all 32 of these jerseys. Now, I've never been a fan of the original cerulean jersey. I think that shade of blue is awkward. I don't really like the bronze all that much. The font is super wonky, but give me a black base like this and the application of color, and this actually is a winner. Now, I still think I like the 1.0 better with red, white, and navy. But that being said, this went as well as I think it could have. Maybe recolor the bottom of the jersey instead of leaving it blank. It looks like a sash from like a beauty pageant or something like that. And the font, I'll never like it. But that being said, there's plenty in this jersey that I do like. The shine from the bronze, The Capitol logo on the shoulders looks really good, I imagine, as well. And of course, the Screaming Eagle, probably the best logo the Capitals have ever had, with the exception of maybe the Weagle. So very strong offering, and I'll consider purchasing this one. In 7th, I've got the Edmonton Oilers. This one definitely took me by surprise. And with an average score of 6.73, you have this ranked 14th. I thought it would have been a little bit higher, though. The application of color is great here. It's a great translation from the original design, which I never really was a fan of, never felt like the Edmonton Oilers to me. But with the navy and the orange and the application of the color, the balance of the jersey, it's fantastic. The shoulder logo looks pretty solid, and the main logo, especially with that shading, I am certainly a big fan of how that turned out. My only gripe against it is the numbers on the actual sleeve bands. This is something that we saw on the original jersey. We saw this with the Kings and the reverse retro they did 2 years ago. I'm not a fan of that because the numbers could get more wrinkled there, I believe, as your arm kind of bends. Would have loved to see that up here for a change, but that being said, it's still a great looking jersey in my opinion. In 6th, I got the Florida Panthers, and I talked about this on Flying Fluffy Hockey. Head over there if you haven't already to see my critique of this jersey overall. But yeah, I do like this one quite a bit, and so do you guys. With an average score of 8.09, it was by far the top vote getter among the Twisted Wrister hockey community. So beautiful jersey, a color scheme that we haven't seen before in the NHL. I think it's magnificent. It turned out perfectly, I believe. Just a couple dings here. I believe that the collar should be red to blend in with the rest of the shoulders. And I'm not a fan of the numbers as well being navy. That kind of is awkward considering you don't really notice that until you look at the bottom of the jersey. I can overlook that though. As a blank, this is an instant purchase, I would have to say. The shoulder logo being moved to the primary logo position, wonderful as well. First time we've never seen a Panther on an actual Panthers jersey. And yeah, I think that this is just a great reimagining of the Panthers brand from the late 90s and also the late aughts when they had that two-tone blue jersey. In 5th, I got the Calgary Flames, and I'm a little surprised here because you guys had this ranked just 19th with an average score of 6.32. I love Calgary jerseys, the home, the away, the blasty. They're all fantastic, and this one isn't much of an exception. The only ding I have against this is that hem line that you can see just above the pedestal striping, shooting upward. So that black line across the jersey does look pretty awkward. It looks more like a sweatshirt, right? You would think there'd be a pocket there, but everything else is just wonderful here. I love the font for the numbers. They look terrific, especially on the back. The kind of race striping appearance of this, the black, white, yellow, and red color combination is an absolute banger in my opinion. And yeah, the C logo, you can't go wrong with that, even in white. I absolutely love this jersey. In 4th, I've got the Pittsburgh Penguins, and with an average score of 7.30, you have this tied for 3rd with the Winnipeg Jets. This is a great example of taking a jersey with a super wonky design back in the 1990s with the gradient and the asymmetrical design of it, and updating it and making it a jersey that I think the casual fan can definitely support and get on board with, and it works so well in the Adidas template as well. I love the yellow shoulders, rounded of course. I love the yellow sleeves and the waist. Everything matches up. You've got a bit of black separating that between the white striping as well, which I always will advocate for. Yellow and white should never be stuck together. So that looks fantastic, although the logo itself does have yellow and white next to each other, but whatever. I can look past that. The Robo Penguin, right? Not a huge fan of the numbers. I think that you could remove the white outlining on them. Everything else about this jersey, though, is so well composed. So even though it's not as insanely over the top as the Robo Penguin, it comes together in a jersey that really does fit in well, I think, with Adidas and the current design of a lot of jerseys out there. In 3rd, I've got the New York Rangers, and you guys, I'm surprised. You had this all the way down in 18th with a score of 6.41. I'm sure part of that was because this is almost the same as the Reverse Retro 1.0, but with a lighter shade of blue. However, they really did make the improvement they needed to make by actually coloring the bottom of the sleeves. The first Reverse Retro didn't do that. It looked way too blank of a jersey, despite that beautiful Lady Liberty logo. But here, it's much more complete. I wish that there would have been maybe a little white and red stripe at the bottom of the torso, but with all the great detailing from the logo itself to the numbers with that silver drop shadow, and also you got, shoulder patches here as well. There's plenty going on with this jersey. This is what the original 1.0 should have been, in my opinion. It looks beautiful. Will I add it to my collection? Maybe I will. I do have the original Statue of Liberty, so not the highest priority, but damn, I'm excited to see the Rangers taking the ice with this one. In second, I've got the New Jersey Devils. That's right, guys. With an average score of 6.21. You had this all the way down in 23rd, but I love this one. My expectations for the Devils are so low after that alternate that they released last year, the word mark, and also the home and away jersey in Adidas, I think are some of the worst in the NHL after beautiful jerseys before that in the Reebok era with the rounded shoulders and all that good stuff. But this, to me, this is awesome. I love how it's a great union between a classic hockey team, the Colorado Rockies, and before them, the Kansas City Scouts, with the New Jersey Devils logo. It's just a great sort of interpretation of an older brand. The Devils have gone in a bit of a different direction using this very unique color combination and the balance of the jersey. There's so much going on with the shoulders, with the arm striping and the waist striping, but it's consistent. I love that. And with a simple logo, that can look excellent out there. So the Devils, they absolutely nailed this one. This has to go in my collection without question, even if it's just a blank. And my top rated reverse retro jersey is the LA Kings. Yes, I think this is better than the 1.0 from 2 years ago. You guys had this ranked 5th with an average score of 7.25. The composition of this, I believe, is better than the 1.0. You don't have those huge warp pipes on the sleeve with the scrambled eggs coloring. You've got the beautiful crown here at the center. Now, I do think that this is kind of a cheesy sort of logo by today's standards, but that being said, I think the detailing is going to look magnificent in prime green. So I got to scoop up one of these. And yeah, there's enough going on with the sleeves, with that beautiful yellow kind of going down to offset the purple and white kind of undersleeve. The waist is just what it needs to be. It's not trying to do too much to compete for attention. It's just a beautiful jersey, and I think it's the top one here in this year's Reverse Retro 1.0. So anyway, guys, if you want to see my tier rankings or what this would look like as tier rankings, I'll flash that up on the screen as well. And while you're taking a look at that, I'll actually talk about a few other YouTubers who rank the reverse retro jerseys. What I'll actually do is point out which jerseys I had in the top 5 that the YouTuber has, and also the jerseys I have in the bottom 5 that the other YouTuber has in their rankings. So we'll start with our guy Enforcer Stevie Bradley. We had no similarities in the top 5. The closest one there was Florida because I had them 6th. In the bottom 5, he had Chicago, and he also had Ottawa. The Jersey Zone, Landon, check out his channel. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers. He did tier rankings, but I'll go based off of that. In his top 5, he has the LA Kings, but that's it. And in the bottom 5, just like Stevie Bradley, he has the Chicago Blackhawks and the Ottawa Senators. The hockey guy, Shannon, at his very top, he had Calgary. I had them ranked 5th. And in his bottom 5, he has both Chicago and Columbus. I barely had them in my bottom 5. Nathan Gravite, also from Sportsnet, he had the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think, as his favorite. I had them ranked 4th, and you guys had them in the top 5 as well. But we had no similarities in the bottom 5. And then lastly, Thomas Psychopunk 7778, one of our loyal viewers from Germany. He had the LA Kings in his top 5, and he had both the Chicago Blackhawks and Ottawa Senators in his bottom 5. But really, in terms of my favorites, we didn't really see all that much from other YouTubers. So my opinions turned out to be fairly unique, and I want to know your opinions about this down in the comments down below. So sound off down there. If you want to rank all 32, by all means, go for it. And if you enjoy content like this, please consider supporting my channel by becoming a member for as little as $3 a month. You get access to all sorts of exclusive content. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're looking for more cool stuff to watch, you can look at my 1.0 rankings from 2 years ago. You can also look at my logo rankings and my home jersey rankings. I'll put links to those down in the video description down below. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please show your support with a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and want more content like this. And you can also follow me on social media. Just take a look at the video description down below. I also accept super thanks and donations. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's been a blast ranking these jerseys, and it's going to be even more fun collecting them. Have a great one out there, guys. Once again, I'm Nick, and I'll catch you Twisters later. Ciao.